How's the royal family? I pray that everyone is doing well. Well, my royal family, just gonna let y'all know, and I forgot to bring this up. Let me go over here real quick. I put something up on Anchor Family. Let me go over here. I have a Anchor. And let's step into it. And I'll have everything there. So once you finish listening to this premiere, go to Anchor. You can go to my community tab too as well. It is there. So anyway, my royal family. Let's get back over here to this coon who deceived Breonna Taylor's mother. You don't deceive anybody's mother at all. And it is disgusting how he performed the other day. And some of the things that I said that was going to happen to him, I'm starting to see. And we're going to learn some things about this coon. I refuse to call him by his name. I have absolutely no respect for him because he's toying around with people's lives. So over here on Heavy, they're making it known that he is not married to Mitch McConnell's granddaughter. They are not related at all. Now, they could have put that up long ago, my royal family, but believe it or not, now they want you to know some things about Mr. Fakeness. Now, I found out he was married before. And the woman he was married to, only thing I could gather, her name is Elizabeth. And when I was doing my deep research, I found out that he made a point of getting as much as her information retracted. So you're not going to find no image or anything. Only thing you're going to do is find a name. It was a very short marriage. Most likely it was a Becky. Now, look how she holding on to him and all of that. But that right there is a diss, because that was supposed to be a feather in his cap, being, unquote, married to Mitch McConnell's granddaughter. Now, he did go to the wedding. I did find out that Mitch McConnell called him one of his proteges. Trump, he likes him because he's lock in step. So we know how they get down. He has demonstrated. He has shown that he has no problem doing whatever it takes to not help his own at all. So now there's demands being made of him. So let's listen to this video and hear what the governor has to say.
And now live, the governor of Kentucky, Democrat Andy Beshear. Governor Beshear, thank you very much for making the time with us this morning.
Thanks for having me.
So the job of the system is to present evidence. Basically, citizens choose whether to return an indictment. Is that what happened here? Did the system work?
Well, all of us, as we sit here today, know what we've been told, but we haven't been able to see the information ourselves. I trust the people of Kentucky and the people of America with the truth. And I think now, especially since the Attorney General has determined not to pursue certain charges, it's time to post all the information, all the facts, all the interviews, all the evidence, all the ballistics, to truly let people look at the information. And one of the problems we've had over the last 6 months is a total lack of explanation and information. And the vacuum that's created there, our emotions, our frustrations, can truly fill that. It's time for people to be able to see the basic information, facts, and evidence, and to be able to come to their own conclusions about justice. I trust the people of Kentucky and America with the truth that lets them come to that conclusion.
Governor, it seems at this point, at least, unlikely that any kind of revelation of those grand jury materials is going to happen because the AG's office has said that would, quote, compromise the federal investigation and violate a prosecutor's ethical duties. So let me ask you about the federal investigation. What are you hoping that leads to, and what conversations have you had with the FBI or the DOJ about a civil rights case here?
Well, I don't think that posting the information that was gathered for a potential criminal case can harm a civil rights case, which is on the civil side. I do not believe that there are any issues, ethical issues for prosecutors. I am the former AG. Now that that potential case and direction is over, we have seen in other cases, even later in Ferguson, information being posted and significant evidence being posted. So I think it's time. The people deserve it. Put it out there and let them read and let them process. Again, trust our people and trust America with the truth and the facts.
You used to be the Attorney General there. What is your confidence currently in the current Attorney General, Daniel Cameron, right now?
Well, the Attorney General and I have had some disagreements. He's currently suing me in court to overturn every COVID restriction, including our mask mandate. But on this, what I want to see is the evidence. I don't want to argue with a prosecutor's or a grand jury's conclusion without actually knowing the facts myself. And I think that's what everybody wants. It creates a level of transparency that I think people don't just crave, they deserve. And again, when you don't have all those facts, for instance, the Attorney General described, and I did appreciate him describing 2 ballistics reports in detail. Well, since they've been described, let people see them and let people read them. And I know I've said it multiple times since we started talking, but just trust them with the truth.
A few more questions for you. I know, Governor, for my day job for NBC News, I cover the White House and President Trump. I know that you've been in contact with the president this morning. I'm not sure if you heard, but he was out in an interview and called you a good guy. I'm wondering about your conversations with him. I'm curious if he has spoken Breonna Taylor's name to you.
Well, we had a brief call last night where he wanted to call and check in. He said it looked like we had the right pieces in place in Louisville to ensure that people could express their First Amendment rights, but to do it safely. That was the primary extent of our conversation. Listen, anytime the president calls to check in, you do appreciate that call.
Can you give us an update on the status of the police officers that were shot in Louisville? Have you been in touch with them? Do you have any more information on the suspect who is now in custody in that?
So I don't have any information on the suspect, but I did talk to a major, one of the law enforcement officers shot last night personally. Actually, he was doing really well, amazingly well, surrounded by his family and friends, and he thought he was going to get to go home last night. We even talked about our kids. We both have kids that we didn't separate enough, just about a year apart apiece. And just listening to his optimism and his condition, certainly warmed my heart. The other officer, I talked to his mother. He was going back in surgery. I've called again this morning. It appears that he is stable and is ultimately going to be okay. But let me just say that it shows you that one individual trying to do the wrong thing can mar a lot of people out there trying to do the right thing. And so I hope people will understand from a governor that is trying to listen, wants to hear, acknowledges systematic racism exists, wants to build a better world for my own kids and everybody else, that we still need law enforcement in place, in a place like Louisville to protect everyone. Because when I have militias and white supremacy groups coming into town at the same time, where any individual could want to cause harm to everybody out there, we've just got to make sure that people can give voice to their frustration while doing so safely. And so, it was a long night in Louisville last night.
Yeah.
We are rooting for a recovery for these 2 officers. And as we move forward, I just ask everybody, stay safe. Let's do this in a safe way. The whole world is listening right now.
Yeah.
So let's make sure that we're protecting one another.
Governor, very quickly before I let you go, you mentioned the acknowledgement of systemic racism. Is it your view, do you believe that this indictment proves that systemic racism exists in Kentucky?
Well, again, we haven't seen the information presented to any of these grand jurors, but systematic racism exists all across America, and we've got to acknowledge that. It exists in areas like healthcare, where in Kentucky, our Black and African American Kentuckians are dying at twice the rate that they make up of the population. And that's because of one reason, unequal access to health care that Dr. King talked about decades ago, and we didn't solve, and look at where we are right now.
All right, my royal family. So we hear that this coon here is suing the governor because he's one of these assholes that really overall don't believe you're supposed to wear a mask. They just give you an insight. But he's just lock in step with Trump at the end of the day. Yes, we want to see those transcripts. We want to know, what did you feed the grand jury? You know, what did you suppress? And now he don't want that out because he wants to protect the integrity of the case. But did you conduct yourself with integrity? You showed that who you in lock and step with. But like I said, he will not elevate no higher. And now it's starting to come out certain things about him. So listen to this.
Right, so she's going to be overseeing some of those things. Some of those decisions will come her way. Let's talk about Breonna Taylor's family. They're in anguish. No one is being held responsible directly for her death. Ben Crump, and then you and I will talk. Here it is.
Breonna Taylor's entire family is heartbroken, devastated, and outraged, and confused, and bewildered, just like all of us, as to what did Kentucky Attorney General Daniel Cameron present to the grand jury? Did he present any evidence on Breonna Taylor's behalf?
So the Attorney General, elections have consequences. The president gets to weigh in on all of that. This family is demanding that the Kentucky AG release a transcript of the grand jury proceedings relating to Breonna Taylor's death. The governor also says they should be released. What do you think? What's your take?
I think that is appropriate in this case, because this has been such a flawed process, and people are questioning the very integrity of the law, the very integrity of the process. And let's face it, the Attorney General, Daniel Cameron, we know that he has no criminal trial experience, none whatsoever. And to have him be the top prosecutor in the state of Kentucky is really, really inappropriate. It's sort of an abomination of the process. And he gave sort of selective information out at the press conference. It was, he released that information to the public. And I think that leads to sort of the misinformation that is being bandied about in the public discourse now. And it also leads to the fact that people are now not trusting the investigation. So in the spirit of transparency, now he has to, I think, release everything to the public, because we need to feel comfortable that the system works. We need to feel comfortable that justice did in fact occur, which is what he told everyone happened, that this was just, that this wasn't mob justice, but justice. And if that's the case, it has to release the transcripts.
Now, did y'all catch that, my royal family? He has zero trial experience. And when I was doing my research about that, he didn't even qualify to even run. But some kind of way they doctored it up, because they took this shit to court. He only has experience being a clerk for a judge. Basically, he pushing paper at the end of the day. But since that's McConnell's boy and that's Trump's boy, they wanted him. to do what he's doing now. And look, I found something here. Listen to this quickly. It's just 57 seconds.
A judge says that Republican Attorney General candidate Daniel Cameron will appear on the November ballot. Capitol reporter Ryland Barton says a lawsuit claimed Cameron did not have the required years of experience for the office.
Louisville resident Joseph Jackson filed the challenge last month, arguing that the 2 years Cameron spent as a clerk for a federal judge should not count as years spent as a practicing attorney. Jefferson Circuit Court Judge Barry Willett ruled against the lawsuit, saying that by Election Day, Cameron will have the requisite 8 years of experience required by the Kentucky Constitution. Cameron is a protege of Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell and worked for him between 2015 and 2017. If elected, Cameron would be the second African-American in state history to win a statewide election in Kentucky. Cameron's Democratic opponent in the race is Greg Stumbo, a former Speaker of the State House of Representatives who also served a 4-year term as Attorney General. I'm Ryland Barton in Frankfort.
So they pushed that through because you heard what they said. Mitch McConnell's a protege. And we know Mitch McConnell don't mind breaking the law. He break the law every day. As soon as he get up and start breathing, even when he just breathing, he breaking the law in line and being grimy and nasty and anything. And you know Mitch McConnell is racist to the core. So in order for them to put him in place, he dangerous. He ain't supposed to be trusted at all. I mean, they got such a close relationship. This racist Mitch McConnell goes to his wedding? That's deep. But he wasn't claiming them to that extent, like, oh, hell no, he ain't married nobody in my family. You better get that shit out. But that speaks volumes. That speaks volumes. So, now, what I want to get into is how he deceived Breonna Taylor's mother. And we're going to hear from the family. So Breonna Taylor's aunt is going to read a statement that was put together by Breonna Taylor's mother.
Standing here today, I'm going to represent my niece in her EMT jacket. I chose this just to have her be a part of us today. Also, I just want to shout out to our family. It's been a long 6 months, and it's been a wild roller coaster. Not only have we been out here fighting for justice for Breonna, but we are continuing to lose our family members to cancer, to COVID, to being murdered. And so my messages to you is just cry your tears, lift your head up, and keep stepping.
I hear you, Bianca.
And most of you know this has been emotionally, mentally, and physically draining for my sister. So I'm going to do the honor and read her thoughts after Daniel Cameron's decision. And I quote, "I never had faith in Daniel Cameron to begin with. Amen. I knew he was too inexperienced to deal with a job of this caliber. I knew he had already chosen to be on the wrong side of the law. The moment he wanted the grand jury to make the decision, what I had hoped is that he knew he had the power to do the right thing, that he had the power to start the healing of this city, that he had the power to help men over 400 years of oppression. What he helped me realize is that it will always be us against them, that we are never safe when it comes to them. Mattingly, in an email, called us animals and thugs. It's clear that that is the way that they will always see us. I was reassured Wednesday of why I have no faith in the legal system, in the police, in the law that are not made to protect us black and brown people. But when I speak on it, I'm considered an angry black woman. But know this, I am an angry black woman. I am not angry for the reasons that you would like me to be.
That's right.
I'm sorry. But angry because our black women keep dying at the hands of police officers and black men. Okay. Angry because our children are dying at the hands of police officers. And I'm angry because this nation is learning that our black women dying at the hands of police officers, and this is not okay. You can take the dog out of the fight, but you can't take the fight out of the dog.
Say it again.
For lack of better terms, bark bark for being the dog still standing to fight.
Yeah.
I knew Cameron would never do his job, but what I do know is that him and countless others will go to bed sleeping with Breonna's face, still hearing her say her name.
That's right.
Cameron alone didn't fail her, but it ended with the lack of investigation failed her. The officer who told a lie to obtain a search warrant failed her. The judge who signed the search warrant failed her. The terrorist who broke down her door failed her. The system as a whole has failed her. You didn't just rob me of my family, you robbed the world of a queen. A queen willing to do a job that most of us could never stomach to do. A queen willing to build up anyone around her. A queen who was starting to pave her path. I hope you never have to know the pain of knowing your child is in need and help and you're not able to give them. I hope you never hear the sounds of seeing someone cry and beg for your child to get help and she never receives help. Those cries was ignored. I hope you never know the pain of your child being murdered 191 days in a row. Tamika Palmer. I am so sorry. So sorry you gotta go through this. So sorry. It's unacceptable. But your family got your back.
Yes.
We're not going nowhere.
We got your back.
Until Freedom has your back.
That's right.
Lanita has your back. Ben has your back. Your daddy has your back. And guess what? This park.
Yeah.
These people that's out here stomping on these grounds has your back.
That was powerful. And it is it's really hard for me to see this queen going through this anguish and having to keep reliving it. And you got this motherfucker worried about how he gonna elevate through the system. You're not gonna elevate. You're not gonna elevate. Because what you don't understand is that you accepted in the spirit world your fate. Oh yeah. You heard what I read the other day. One of them cops is having night terrors. Him and his wife is up at 2 a.m, worried about shit. But you know, even with that, they still don't learn. And then the thing that I'm getting ready to show the royal family is going to disgust you. You always got somebody trying to capitalize off our pain. Check this out.
You just saw the entire panel on MSNBC went after the Attorney General of Kentucky, Daniel Cameron, for the crime of stating facts. So they attacked him. They called him, in their phrase, racially charged names because he deviated from the DNC's line. This kind of attack is everywhere now. What should we make of it? Candace Owens has borne the brunt of attacks like this for a long time. She's the author of the book Blackout, How Black America Can Make Its Second Escape from the Democrat Plantation. She joins us tonight. Candace, thanks so much for coming on. So you saw the Attorney General of Kentucky, and I think I'd be honest enough to say this even if I disagreed with him, certainly made a rational case for his position and a pretty traditionally American case, rioting is not justice. And then you see him attacked as a race traitor. What do you make of that?
For me, it's absolutely infuriating to watch, and you are correct in saying that I've been on the receiving ends of the same sorts of attacks. And here's what's so fundamentally wrong and backwards about it, is that if you actually look at what they're saying and what the deeper implications are here, it's that there is a right way, a correct way, and a wrong way to be black. Meaning that you could look at me, Tucker, and say Candace Owens is black, and therefore I can assign a bunch of characteristics and expectations upon to her based on her skin color. Ironically, Tucker, that's the very definition of racism. And it's coming from the liberals who like to say that they see racism everywhere, but they can't recognize it when it's coming out of their own mouths. I've often said the Democrat Party has built almost a prototype of what it means to be a Black American. That prototype means a Black American must vote Democrat. You must react emotionally and not rationally and not pause to think. We must be faithful and abide by cultural icons, meaning we must worship the words and the advice of King LeBron James, as he's called, and Queen Beyonce. Queen Beyonce being the person, I will remind your listeners and viewers, who actually wrote a letter to hurry up the Attorney General in his investigation and said that she wanted her kind of justice delivered in the Breonna Taylor case. He did the right thing by ignoring her. He did the right thing by ignoring the various pressures coming from culture and the mainstream media. And for that, you're seeing him being socially lynched and stripped of his identity because he acted professionally and rationally. You know, this guy should be commended by both sides, and instead he's being attacked racially by the left.
It's beyond belief in how patronizing it is, but it's also an attack on the most basic freedom of all, which is the right of every American to think for himself. That's my view. I disagree. I mean, that's the most American thing you can say, but they don't recognize that right.
They don't. And what I get especially frustrated with, Tucker, is this kind of a thought process. It only exists, it's only placed upon Black Americans. You can't imagine a scenario where Joe Biden would say, if you don't vote for me, you ain't white. Right? It doesn't even sound right. Suddenly you're like, what are you talking about? You have to come to us with ideas and get us to see your perspective. But when it's Black Americans, they view it as proprietary. There is something proprietary about black skin to Democrats, and they get super angry at people that think independently, like myself, like the Attorney General, and like various other Black Americans who are waking up to this delusions.
It just strikes me, kind of off topic, but this is a country in which Joy-Ann Reid of Harvard has a TV show and you don't. And that seems wrong to me.
Now this bitch here, Lisa Cabrera had already showed the game that she playing because ain't nobody buying that little raggedy book that she got. You got a true nigga moment on the world stage. The Republican Party ain't fucking with you. And then you basically gonna ride on somebody else's coattail because y'all one in the same. You notice she didn't mention Breonna Taylor because she don't give a damn. Only thing she give a damn about is her immediate situation. Am I surprised? Not at all. But I will guarantee you this, my royal family, we will see less and less of her because she's been snubbed on the world stage. So she's inflicting more pain on herself because she gonna try to stay in their good graces. They ain't fucking with you. You ain't nothing but a form of entertainment. So I needed to show that to the royal family. So let's get back. No. Here. Right here. To do what you continue to do to the royal family. Deceive. At all costs. Not thinking that somewhere down the line you are going to have to atone. See, I'm showing you what a supporter, the enemy supporters, are willing to do. Because somebody like this coon here, his God is the enemy. So he gonna do everything he can to appease. That is it, and that is all. I have already spoke on he ain't gonna elevate. But if you really, again, want to hear true royal, really spitfire about this coon, you gotta go to Anchor. I'm very unforgiving how I speak about this coon. I had to release that. You'll feel me, my royal family. But I need to feel you too. Because your voice is extremely important. So render your voice with your beautiful divine words. And as always, my royal family, thank you for your love. I thank you for your support. And with that said, Ashe.